So, welcome to the orientation session of geography. Myself, Arun, Faculty of Geography, and I introduce Gowtham sir. I've been working here from 2016, and both of us have experience of handling geography sessions in UPSC around 9 years right now. All right. So, sir, please.
So thanks for coming today. So the orientation will have two parts. First, sir will be giving a general idea on how exactly to choose an optional and the structure of geography optional syllabus in general. Then sir will be talking about physical geography. After part one is over, I will explain the features of human geography, the second part of optional syllabus. So after that, at the end, we'll take all the questions you have regarding the optional. Fine. So I think sir will start now. We'll start straight ahead.
So, shall we start the discussion? Right. So, as I mentioned, my name is Arun. Regarding my background, I have completed my master's in geography, and right now I'm pursuing PhD in urban geography. And right now it is going on with my works and all in Chennai. So here, as Gowtham sir mentioned, we have two parts in the discussion. In the first part, I'll be giving you an idea regarding how to choose or what is the importance of optional in UPSC examination. And then we'll enter into the discussion of how or what is the syllabus of geography and what are the important features, benefits, and its drawbacks of geography. And after that, I'll be introducing you to a small discussion which is coming from the physical geography part after the discussion of syllabus and all. Fine. So we'll start it very slowly. What is the significance of optionals in UPSC mains exam? What is the significance? What is the importance of optional? Studying optional or thorough understanding of optional? What is the role it plays actually? 500 marks, it fetches fine, right? Anything else apart from 500? As you know, it is optional, plays a very decisive role in the mains exam preparation. One most important aspect is what is the total score for the mains exam? 1750 is the total mark, out of which 500 mark is for optional. 500 in the sense there is a paper 1 and paper 2. So this is a very peripheral understanding. Out of 1750 of the total mark of optional, of the total mark of the mains examination, we have 500 marks for the optionals. This is one important aspect. Apart from this 500, it is not just a 500. Apart from this, the optionals carries a major role or a decisive role. I used to say a decisive role in the overall preparation of this exam, which means if you are very thorough with a particular optional that you have chosen, if you're very thorough, if you're very confident in a particular optional, that confidence will boost your preparation. That can drive you to grasp or cover all the other papers with ease. We'll be covering the optional syllabus, every optional. I'm not talking about geography. You'll be covering the optional syllabus within a span of 6 months. You'll be sitting in the class, you'll be taking the lecture notes, we'll be providing some materials for your reference. You'll be reading the standard books and you'll be preparing your own. This 6 months of time, if you are utilized this very effectively, you will be very clear about that particular optional. And along with the classes, we'll be conducting the examination, that is the class test will be conducted. There we will guide you how to prepare or what all changes you need to make in the answer writing practice. So within a span of this 6 months of time, you will be very thorough about a particular optional, which means mark wise 500 is done. Then if you are very clear about the concept of a particular optional, your writing is very, if it is very effective, that is going to affect the overall papers of GS studies, GS paper 1, GS paper 2, GS paper 3, and your essay paper. That is going to impact or influence greatly in this preparation of all these papers. Fine. So your understanding of optional is not just for this 500 marks. It is going to impact or influence all these areas of your preparation. It will decide the confidence, it will decide your ability to grasp, it will decide the structuring of your answer. All these things will be there as a part of the optional. What I'm trying to say is it is not just 500 marks. It is more than that. Fine. Fine. Then coming towards geography, or before geography, what all things will be popping out in your mind while talking about or thinking about optional subject? What all things will be coming while choosing an optional? Foremost thing is, one thing is your interest. This is an important part. Second one, this one is like this. Am I interested in, or do I have interest in geography, or am I interested in English, or do I have interest in history or sociology, kind of things? All these things will be coming up in your mind within this 1-2 months of time of the preparation. Interest is that. Second one, you'll be thinking about the syllabus. Yes or no? Third one is we'll be talking about overlap with the general studies. Next one, scoring or not. Availability of a good teacher and material. Then one more important part is there, that is your friends or the peer group. They can influence you to choose an option. If your roommate has selected a particular option, you'll be having a kind of inclination towards that option. He has chosen that. Should I choose that or not? It will be there. So this guy can also influence in the decision. So what is the first one? Interest. So when talking about a particular syllabus or a particular optional subject, whether it is history, geography, public administration, Tamil literature, Malayalam literature, or any other subject, animal husbandry, any other subject, the foremost priority that you need to give is the interest. Because you are the one who is going to sit with the subject for the next upcoming 2 years in the minimum. 1 year for the preparation, the next year for the exam process, which means you are the one who is going to sit with the subject for the coming 2 years. It's a kind of a relationship. If you get a good companion, the journey will be very smooth, very interesting, very engaging. If you are with a wrong company, it is going to be a mess or a very difficult, because 2 years of time is a long span. Got it? So interest plays a major role in deciding the optional or choosing the optional. Give prior importance to this particular factor, that is the interest. Don't choose an option by seeing all these fancy things. All these are compared to this one as a fancy things. Don't go for an optional if you are not having any interest in that. So this is a foremost thing you need to consider before choosing an optional. Next one is syllabus. Go through the syllabus. There is a syllabus of every optional is available in the UPSC website. You can go through the syllabus of every optional and see, are you confident about that particular optional syllabus? Some of the optional syllabus are very vast. It seems very vast. Some are very crisp. So that also plays a role in deciding the optional. Fine. the next important area is overlap with the GS papers. GS paper 1, GS paper 2, GS paper 3. These 3 papers, apart from that, there is essays also there. So choosing an optional which is having a greater overlap with the GS paper will give you an edge over the other aspirants. Which means what I'm trying to say is you can save time in the class, sitting in the class. You can save time in preparing for that particular GS paper if you are covered or completed that optional paper. Fine. So there you have some edge in the time overlap with the GS papers. Then about the scoring, this one will be popping out in your mind again and again. Is it a scoring subject? Is it not a scoring subject like this? Keep in mind, this particular part is very dynamic. If a subject has reached its prominence for a few years of time, like 2 years, 3 years of time, this is a particular subject is very high scoring. That does not mean that the next year it will be the most scoring subject. So within a span of around 10 years of my experience as a faculty or both of us, what we have seen is there were subjects that were very low in scoring, that reached its prominence and that fell. So this is applicable for all the subject. Some years the scoring will be very low. Some years it will be rising into the prominence. Then again it will fall. So these things are very dynamic. Then regarding the availability of materials and a good teacher or a mentor, this is also plays a very vital role in your optional preparation. And this guy is going to guide, or this guy is going to suggest you some optional. Fine. Each and everyone is an individual, right? Everyone will have a different interest. So don't follow your friend or don't follow the same optional that your friend have opted if you are not having any interest in that. Fine. So this can play a major role here also. How? You will get a peer group within your hostel or within your PG itself, within your room itself. If you have a person who has taken the same optional, you can sit together and prepare well. But don't choose the optional only based on this particular criteria. Got it? An overall idea? I know you know all these things, like these are very peripheral analysis of how to choose an optional. So what is the foremost factor you need to consider while choosing an optional? It is the interest of yours. So give prior importance, because as I mentioned, it is a kind of relationship of minimum of 2 years. If you have not clearing the prelims in the first attempt, it is going to be a 3-year. It is going to be a 4-year preparation. So this is how it goes. So gives most important for the interest part. Fine. Next is coming towards geography. Coming towards geography. What about the syllabus? Have you seen the syllabus of geography? Anyways, we'll be covering it in the discussion. How about the syllabus of geography? That's vast. Then, anything else? Anything else? Have you heard about geography syllabus of UPSC? Anything else apart from this? Anything else apart from this? Vast. So the answer here is the syllabus of geography is vast. But my understanding or my question is it really vast? Or is it something else other than vastness? So think about why or how geography became vast. Because it discusses a lot of things which are directly connected with society, that is world and India. It discusses about culture, the cultural aspect of the world and India. It discusses about geographical basis of Indian federalism. It discusses about economy, like different types of development, regional development, sustainable development. It talks about different aspects in environment. It covers a major part in disaster management, and it talks about a lot of things regarding contemporary issues. So, what is the reason why geography is that much vast? Because it talks about a lot of things. A lot of things, like very precisely, it talks about society, that is world and India. It talks about culture aspects, that's the world and India. See this, both of these things are falling under GS paper 1. Next part, geographical basis of Indian federalism. This one is in GS paper 2, related with India polity. Next one, coming towards this one, it talks about economy, it talks about development, regional development, sustainable development things, environmental aspects, disaster management, and contemporary issues related with oceans, atmosphere, and the topography. Ocean, atmosphere, and topography, which means that include climate change, different kind of things that are having a greater importance in the contemporary world. So all these things all together comes under GS paper 3. So see this, who made geography that much vast? It is exactly the inclusiveness, it is not the vastness. It includes all that other subjects, whether it is related with India's the sociology related things. It covers the areas that is related with economy. It talks about the disaster management, contemporary issues, which are all spreads across the GS paper 1, 2, and 3. Which means while choosing an optional or by choosing geography optional, the optional syllabus is very vast, but that vastness is not really vastness, it is exactly the inclusive nature of the subject. So that concept has broken. It is not vastness, it is inclusiveness. And one more thing, even if the syllabus is vast for any subject, it is not the vastness is going to play a major role, but it is your interest. So this one and this one will solve the issue of that vastness. So there is a greater overlap with the GS papers, and the interest of yours is going to play or crush that vast syllabus which is mentioned in the UPSC website. Understood? Fine. Right. So regarding the syllabus, I'll take you to the syllabus. So before going to the syllabus, as I mentioned, while choosing an optional, consider all the discussed factors and decide yourself and come and sit in the class. Fine. So give prior importance for your interest first. Right. So syllabus, regarding the syllabus, as you know that there is a two papers are there, GS paper, this paper 1 and paper 2, which is split into 10 modules in paper 2 and 5 major modules in 5 and 10 major modules in the paper 1. So see this one is the first paper, that is the paper 1, Principles of Geography, that is the physical geography, first one, which includes geomorphology, climatology, oceanography, biogeography, and environmental geography. So this is the physical aspects in paper 1, which includes geomorphology, climatology, oceanography, biogeography, and environmental geography. And within that part B in the paper 1, there is a human geographical aspects are there. That is a perspectives in human geography, economic geography, population and settlement geography, regional planning, models, theories, and laws in human geography. So this covers the paper 1 of the syllabus, the subject. Next one, regarding the paper 2, that is a geography of India. There again you can see physical settings of India, resources of India, agriculture of India, industry, transportation, communication and trade, cultural settings, settlements, regional development and planning, political aspects, contemporary issues. So this is all about the syllabus of paper 2. So this covers the entire syllabus of geography. So within this, we'll be splitting the syllabus into two parts. The first part, this one, geomorphology, this physical aspect which comes under paper 1. Then the physical settings which comes under paper 2 will be, and contemporary issues in paper 2 will be handled by me, and the other one, the human geographical aspect in paper 1, and the remaining parts, that is the resource, agriculture, industry, transportation, trade, cultural settings, settlement, population, all these things will be done by Gowtham sir. So there are two parts we are splitting. Fine. Right. So getting into the syllabus in detail regarding geomorphology. So what is it mentioned in the beginning? Factors that control landform development, endogenic and exogenic forces. I hope most of you have covered the geomorphology part in your GS studies or just started the geomorphology, right? Started, right? Geomorphology? No. Fine. No problem. So geomorphology and climatology, oceanography and environmental aspect of paper 1 is having a greater overlap with GS paper 1 syllabus, which means the things that you are studying here in the optional will be having a direct implication in GS paper 1. In GS paper 1, that is a major part. You can see that there is a Society of India, cultural settings. Then you can see that various geophysical phenomena associated with Earth. So all these things are given. So major part of the syllabus of optional within the physical aspects can be seen in the GS paper 1, which means in geomorphology, what is geomorphology actually? Geomorphology, change in the structure of Earth. It talks about different landforms. It talks about different processes that create landforms. It talks about different shapes that you can see on the Earth surface, that is called as a topography. So all these things can be seen in geomorphology. So that is what is explaining here, what factors controlling landform development. There are endogenic forces and exogenic forces. So what is endogenic force? A force which is coming from interior of Earth. A force which is coming from the interior and shapes the landforms on the Earth's surface. That is an endogenic force. Exogenic force, what is it? A force which is coming from the atmosphere and forms or shape the landforms on the Earth's surface. One is constructive force, the other one is called as a destructive force. So we'll be dealing with this one in the beginning. After that, you can see that there is an origin and evolution of the Earth crust, fundamentals of geomagnetism, physical condition of the Earth's interior, geosynclines, continental drift, isostasy, plate tectonics, recent views on mountain building. So this is how the syllabus goes. So here we discuss about the physical conditions of the Earth's interior. What all layers are there in the interior of Earth? Then we have the crust, then we have the mantle, then we have the core. This is a classification of Earth's interior based on the chemical properties. Apart from that, there is another classification that talks about the physical basis. That is a lithosphere, asthenosphere. Lithosphere is there, asthenosphere is there, there is a mesosphere is there is a pyrosphere and barysphere. So that is also another classification. So we'll be discussing about all these things. Then talks about, then we'll be covering that mountain building. Get me one name of a mountain. Young-fold mountain. Yes? Himalaya is an example for a mountain. What type of a mountain Himalaya is? It's a fold mountain. What is a fold mountain? Convergence of continental plates has created the fold mountain. Fold mountain is simply when you crush two papers from two sides. A kind of folding can be seen, right? The same thing. When it is there on the Earth's surface, it creates certain undulations on the Earth's surface. These are called as a fold mountain. Himalaya is a better example for a fold mountain. Rockies of North America, Andes of South America, Alps of Europe. All these are examples for fold mountains. And when you used to say Himalaya, we are not just saying that it is a fold mountain. We used to say that young fold mountain. Why it's so? Very recently means? When was it created? Very recently. Young fold mountain means it's a very recent formation. That very recent means it is 50 million years back. 50 million years back in geography or geology, it is a very recent year. That's why it is called as a young fold mountains. Fine. So mountain building, there are different theories regarding that. One prominent theory is plate tectonics theory. Another theory is a geosynclinal theory. So we'll be, these things won't be covered, the geosynclinal parts, all these things won't be covered in the GS paper. But here we'll be discussing about the geosynclinal theories of fold mountain formation, plate tectonics theory in detail. Everything will be covered for discussing this area. Volcanism and earthquakes and tsunami. What are volcanoes? What are volcanoes? Volcanoes are, a simple understanding is just an opening on the Earth's surface through which the molten materials are ejecting out. So that is a volcano. These are the volcanoes. What is the reason behind the volcanic eruption? Pressure inside, right? Then when one tectonic plate moves down, subjected to greater heat and melting process, magma will be produced excessively, and along with the steam, it can come out by creating a puncture hole within the lithosphere. So this is a simplest example for or explanation of a volcanism. What is earthquake then? That is a reason, right? What is it? That's it. It's just a vibration of the earth crust due to some forces which are coming from the interior or forces that are acting from outside. Just a meteorite impact from the space can also create earthquake. So it is not just the force which is coming from the interior, rather than it is a force which is acting from outside can also trigger earthquake. Fine. A nuclear test can trigger earthquake. So earthquake means it's just a reflection of the energy, the vibration. That's it. So there are certain theories that explain why there are earthquakes, why there are volcanic eruptions in the world. So those theories we will be discussing in detail. Then after that, you can see that there are theories like landscape development theories are there. There are three important theories, Davis Penck and L.C. King. How different landscape is changing over a period of time. Evolution of the landscape. That will be discussed here. Then you can see applied geomorphology, geomorphology, economic geology, and environment. All these things are the remaining parts of geomorphology. Almost around a 50 to 55% of geomorphology syllabus has a overlap with the GS paper that you are going to prepare for the prelims and that you are going to prepare for the GS paper 1. Fine. So almost a 50 to 55% of geomorphology has a direct implication in GS paper 1 and prelims. Next, coming towards climatology. Climatology in the sense, what is the climate? What is the climate? What is the weather and climate? Day-to-day changes of what? Temperature of what? Day-to-day changes of atmosphere. Day-to-day changes of atmosphere related with the temperature, humidity, winds. All these can be called it as weather. And what is climate then? What is the climate over a period of time? What is that? What is that particular over a period of time? What is it? 10 years? 50 years? 30 years? Anything else apart from that? If you want to say the climate is changing, you need to have a weather data of a minimum of 31 years. Then only you can say, you can call it as a climate. So this is the temporal difference, the time difference. When we compare weather and climate, this is the temporal difference. Weather means day-to-day changes in the atmosphere. Climate means the changes of the atmosphere for a minimum of 31 years. So that is called as a climate and weather. That is the difference. Apart from this temporal difference between weather and climate, there is one more difference is there. You can talk about the weather condition of South Chennai, the weather condition of Chennai city, the weather condition of Bangalore. But while talking about the climate, you'll be talking about the climate of India, climate of Asia, climate of Europe, climate of North America, which means there is a spatial aspect is also there. Weather stands for a small geographical area, whereas the climate stands for a vast area. So both are the difference. One is a temporal difference, time-based difference. Second one is a spatial difference, the aerial difference. Fine. So that is the thing that is a differentiated climatology or a climate from a weather. Then what are the syllabus here? Temperature and pressure belts of the world, heat budget of the planet, atmospheric circulation, atmospheric stability and instability, planetary, local winds, monsoons and jet streams, air masses and fronts, temperate and tropical cyclones, types of distribution of precipitation, weather and climate. See here, till this part of the syllabus, which means till here, from climatology till here, this is the same syllabus that you can see in GS paper 1 and prelims. The remaining thing after the climate, this is climate classification. This is exclusively for the optional part. So the remaining things or the previous things were there in the GS paper 1, GS paper 3, and also in the prelims preparation. So what all things are there? Climatic classification of Köppen, Thornthwaite, and Trivarta. Hydrological cycle, global climate change, and role and response of man in climate change, applied climatology, and urban climate. Again, all these are coming under paper 3, that is a GS paper 3, environmental, natural hazards, and disaster management. All these things are related with that also. And after this, moving on to the next part, oceanography. How many oceans do we have? 7, 5, or 4? Which are those 7 oceans then? Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, Arctic, Antarctic Ocean. 2 more, right? We have 7 continents and 5 oceans. Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean, Indian Ocean, Antarctic Ocean and Arctic Ocean. Which is the largest ocean? Fine. Pacific Ocean is the largest ocean. Fine. So within oceanography, we'll be starting our discussion with the bottom topography of the Atlantic, Indian and Pacific Ocean. Which means you'll be discussing about what all things are there in the ocean floor. What are the different landforms that you can see within the ocean floor? There are underwater volcanoes are there, underwater mountains are there, trenches are there, peaks are there, some are islands are there, continental shelves are there, marginal seas are there. All these things of Atlantic, Pacific and Indian Ocean will be discussed in the first part of oceanography syllabus. Next one, temperature and salinity of the ocean, heat and salt budget, ocean deposits, wave, ocean currents, tides, marine resources, biotic minerals and energy resources, coral reefs, coral bleaching, sea level changes, laws of the sea, and marine pollution. See, these parts of oceanography has a greater reflection in the GS papers again. So, when I'm saying this part, that is a geomorphology, around a 50-55% reflection in the GS papers. Climatology, almost most of the part has a reflection. Oceanography, almost main part of the oceanography has a directly reflected in the GS papers. Then next 2 parts are biogeography and environmental geography. Here we'll be discussing about soil, the formation of soil, classification of soil, deterioration of soil, and the soil related mitigative measures that can be discussed in the biogeography part. And we'll be discussing about the distribution of flora and fauna in the world. What are the factors that contribute or influence the distribution of flora and fauna in the world? Why kangaroos are only seen in Australia? Why not in India? Why polar bears and penguins are not meeting in a natural ecosystem? Adaptation, fine. Why polar bears are not moving towards Antarctica? Is it only because of that? It is there. Polar bears and penguins. Penguins are there in the South Pole and surroundings, and polar bears are there in the North Pole. Why are they not meeting? They need to cross the equatorial part, the hot equatorial part. So these are some kind of thing that discuss about the distribution of the flora and fauna in the world. Fine. Next is environmental geography. Here we will be discussing about the environmental aspect, like how development of a country, how development is harming the environment, how much it harmed for the last 2 centuries. What are the reasons? What are the mitigative measures? What are the conventions to preserve and protect the environment? That is the aspect that we'll be covering in this particular part of environmental geography in brief. Ecosystem, ecology, all these related things will be covered here. And the next part that I will be discussing is the physical settings of India. So this paper 2 is like a case study of paper 1. What is that? What all things you have learned in paper 1 will be applied in a particular geographical area. Here the geographical area is India. So we have learned about geomorphology, climatology, oceanography, biogeography, environmental geography in India. That is in world aspects. The same things will be taken and applied over India. That is this paper. Fine. So there is not a segregative study for paper 2. Paper 1 and paper 2 will be clubbed together, interconnected the concept, and that's how we are going to deal with the syllabus. So there is no separate segregation for this paper 2 classes. So we'll be discussing related to all the aspects related with the physical settings of paper 2 while discussing the geomorphology. Climatic aspects of India will be discussed while discussing climatology. Indian rivers or kind of things will be discussed while discussing the oceanography part. Fine. So there is no segregative study is possible. In fact, that is the most smartest way to address the syllabus. Fine. So this is the syllabus. And the remaining part is human geography part will be there, human geography and the human geographical part application on India will be handled by Gowtham sir. So I'll take you to a brief discussion of earthquakes and volcanism in the planet. So this is the overview about the syllabus, how to choose an optional, and the advantages of geography and the geographical syllabus. Fine, this is the introductory part. Then I'll take you to a brief discussion regarding the volcanism and earthquakes in the world. Get me a name of a volcano which is there in India. That's an island, right? Why there is no active volcanism in the mainland? When I ask volcanoes in India, he responded barren island. Barren island means barren is an island which is located east of Andaman and Nicobar. This is Andaman Nicobar Island, and this is the place where you have the barren. There is no active volcanism in the mainland of India right now. There were volcanism, but right now there is no volcano. Apart from barren, there is one more is there that is called as a Narcondam. These are the two volcanism or volcanoes associated with India which are located east of Andaman Nicobar Islands. Tell me why there is no volcanoes in the mainland of India? Why there is no volcanism in India? Yeah, that is tectonic plates. What is that? What is that? Get me the names of some regions in India which are highly prone to earthquakes. Gujarat is there. Arunachal Pradesh is there. Northeast and the Himalayan region is there. In fact, while talking about the earthquakes in India, these are the hotspots of earthquakes, or these are the most vulnerable regions of earthquakes in India. The Gujarat, northern Gujarat part, entire stretch of Himalayas, entire stretch of Northeast. These are, and including Andaman Nicobar Islands. These are the regions in India which are highly vulnerable to earthquake hazards. Again, the same question. Why not Chennai? Or why only this much of area? Sorry?
Just collided with an existing plate, so they're actually like.
Fine. So those regions which are there in the Himalayas in the northeast has collided with an existing plate over there, and that has created the earthquakes. Fine. Scope for the earthquake. Fine. Anything else?
When it keeps moving, the whole mountains try to grow, so no chances for earthquake.
Yes. While talking about the earthquakes and volcanism in India or throughout the world, most of the volcanoes, around 500 plus active volcanoes, are located in the Pacific Ocean. Regarding the distribution of volcanism and earthquakes, more than 500 active volcanoes can be seen around the Pacific Ocean, but there is no single active volcano in the mainland of India. While talking about the distribution of earthquakes in the world, again, the regions around the Pacific Ocean are highly vulnerable to earthquakes. These regions are highly vulnerable to earthquakes. All these regions around the Pacific Ocean, these areas, all these regions are greatly vulnerable to earthquakes. They are vulnerable to volcanism. They are vulnerable to tsunamis, underwater landslides. All these things are very active around the Pacific Ocean. But as I mentioned, there is no active volcanism in the mainland of India, but there are greater vulnerability of earthquakes can be seen in the northern part of India, especially in the Himalayas. So why it's so? Yeah. When a discussion comes like this, there were a lot of interpretation, there were a lot of efforts done by a lot of scholars to explain these phenomena. There were geosynclinal explanation were there, isostatic explanation were there, seafloor explanations were there, and the most convincing explanation was given by a particular theory called as a plate tectonics. Plate tectonics theory. This particular theory in geomorphology discusses and tries to solve the puzzles behind the distribution of earthquakes and volcanism in the world. Mountain building. So all these things, all these geophysical phenomena like earthquakes, volcanism, mountain building, trench formation, tsunamis, for all these questions, there is a particular theory to explain in a convincing manner. That is a plate tectonics theory. What this theory exactly says? This theory says that the Earth's surface where we all are standing is made up of a rigid and a solid rock. Earth's surface is made up of a rigid and a solid rock that we can call it as a lithosphere. What is that? Lithosphere. Lithosphere. Lithosphere means a sphere which is made up of solid rocks. So this is the place where we all are living. Our buildings are there, vegetations are there, everything is there. This is called as a lithosphere. What is there below the lithosphere? This theory of plate tectonism says that below the lithosphere, at a depth of around 100 to 400 kilometers, there is another layer is existing which is called as asthenosphere. Asthenosphere. And one more thing this theory says, asthenosphere is not like the rigid lithosphere. Gaseous. Asthenosphere is made up of some semi-solid particles. It is not as strong as the lithosphere. It is not as solid as the lithosphere, but it is in a semi-solid nature. Why it is in a semi-solid nature? Why this called as 100 to 400 kilometer area is having a semi-solid state? Because this theory says that within a depth of around 100 to 400 kilometer, there is a greater amount of heat energy is generated. Greater amount of heat is generated here. Heat energy is generated here at this particular depth of 100 to 400. And that heat tried to melt the rocks which are there in this particular depth. And when an enormous amount of heat is generated in this particular area, that heat will be transported into the other area through the mechanisms of convections, through a different convection cells. These convection cells are always in motion. What is the function of convection? To transfer the excess heat from this particular site of heat generation towards the other parts of the asthenosphere. So they are always in the motion. They are always in motion. And what is responsible for this particular heat? No, listen the question. What is responsible for this generation of heat? It is the presence of radioactive elements. Active elements like uranium and thorium. There is an immense amount of uranium and thorium can be seen within a depth of around 100 to 400 kilometer. There is a radioactive disintegrations are taking place here, and that radioactive disintegration produces heat energy. That heat energy try to melt the solid rocks which are there in a depth of around 100 to 400, and that heat will be transferred through molecular movement here, and that is called as a convection cells. So this is the basics. Lithosphere is a solid layer. Below that there is a semi-solid asthenosphere. Asthenosphere within always there is a convection. And one more thing, this particular theory says, this particular lithosphere where we all are living or where we all are standing is not a single block. It is broken into a number of pieces. These are called as lithospheric plates. And these singles or individual blocks individual blocks like this. This is one part, this is next block, this is third block, this is a fourth block. These are called as lithospheric plates. So this theory says that these lithospheric plates are lying over or floating over the denser asthenosphere. So here I'll make it clear. The asthenosphere where we have the semi-solid materials are like a lake. That is like a lake with full of water. And think about this. There is a lake and I'm putting a lot of thermocol sheets over the lake water. So there is a lake. I'm taking some thermocol sheets and I'm putting it over the lake water. What happens when there is a wind is coming? Or when I throw a pebble into the lake, what happens? When I throw a pebble into the lake, some ripples will be created in the lake water, right? Along with that ripple movement, that thermocol sheets will have a tendency to slide, right? Some movements will be there, right? Sometimes two thermocol sheets will come and collide like this. Sometimes they will detach and move away from each other. Sometimes they will slide past each other. Here I am talking about the thermocol sheets that I have placed over the lake. In a similar way, here we have the lithospheric blocks, lighter lithospheric blocks placed in a lake of semi-solid asthenosphere. And whenever there is a convection is taking place within this asthenosphere, that convections can drive the overlying lithospheric blocks. And they can create three different types of movements. One movement is convergent, divergent, and conservative. Three different things. Convergent means collision of two tectonic plates, which can ultimately result fold mountain formation. When two tectonic plates are colliding, it can create greater exchanges of energy that can create some tremors at the margins of the plate. That is our earthquake. Some divergence of the plate will create some cracks within the lithosphere, and this semi-solid asthenosphere will find a way to pump huge amount of magma towards the surface of Earth. That you can call it as a volcanism. So plate margins are the vulnerable zones where you can expect earthquakes, volcanism, and tsunamis. The Himalayan belt of mountains are located in the plate margins. That's why there is a frequent earthquakes. Andaman Nicobar regions, where we have this Andaman Nicobar Islands, that is a zone of active earthquakes, and that are zones of volcanism, also barren. And Andaman Nicobar Islands, all these are volcanic islands. The regions around the Pacific Ocean is called as a ring of fire, where you have 500 plus active volcanism. That is also comes under the plate boundaries. So plate margins are the zones of plate interactions. These areas are vulnerable to a lot of geophysical phenomena. Fine. So this is a brief discussion about the plate tectonics theory and geophysical phenomena. So after discussing this, we'll be linking it with the Indian context. Within India, Indian plate is colliding with the Eurasian plate. That has created the fold mountain of Himalaya here. That has created the frequent earthquakes over here. That has created the Andaman Nicobar volcanic islands here. So likewise, we'll be linking it with the paper 2 part of the syllabus. Fine. Right. So the remaining part, that is a human geography part. Gowtham sir will come and discuss about the human geography part of paper 1 and paper 2. And after that, both of us will come and address your queries. Fine. Thank you.
So I believe one part is already over. Okay, I'll just continue with the tempo. See, one of the major things, when people come for UPSC preparation, they have a wrong perception of geography. Wrong perception is not the right word. Maybe a partial perception of geography. Just like if a face is there, you see one side of the moon alone. And you're like, fine. That's what people have an understanding about. Because geography is what people see as mountains. Geomorphology. Geography is what people see as clouds and cyclones. Climatology. Geography is what people see as rivers, groundwater, and then finally oceans. Oceanography. Geography is what people see as soil, forest. Biogeography and connecting all of them is their ecosystem. Environmental geography. That's one part. Second part of geography is equally charming. Okay. I just want to use this person. Clear? So chapter number 6 is philosophy, you know. What is philosophy? Rahul will tell me what is philosophy. Tell me, Rahul. What is philosophy? Yeah. That's all. I'm just asking you, what is philosophy? Okay. Anyone here? What is philosophy? Kabilan, you know? My God. Prem? Louder, please. Come on. Philosophy. தத்துவம் என்றால் என்ன? ஓ, தத்துவம் லைஃப் போயிட்டீங்களா? Tattvam need not always be associated with life, right? It can be more broader. So what is philosophy? Tattvam. Understanding, okay. ASP, understanding what? Understanding life? Okay, fine. Then understanding? Understand, okay, conveying of experience. Okay, fine. So you become older, you become philosophical. Okay, fine. Then, see, philosophy is how, what, or what exactly it is. That's what philosophers do. Fine. For example, one of the most famous philosophers who's also a scientist is this person called Newton. Newton was actually a philosopher. He was just simply asking questions as in, why does something fall down? He started there. He was not technically a scientist. Of course, scientist, logic, development of entire classical physics, all that is important. But he asked a basic question, no? That's technically philosophy. Now, why are we looking at this? Because there is one part of geography where you have to ask a very basic question. What is geography? Getting the idea? How should geography be studied? Why should we study geography? What is the purpose of geography? You see all these philosophical questions, no? This is what people have been grappling for more than 2000 years. Look at the title of the chapter. Perspectives in Human Geography. Fine. So it might seem completely unattached, but for optional syllabus, we need to understand that as a small portion of your syllabus, 10%, okay, every chapter is 10%. A small portion of your syllabus, we have to look at the philosophies and geography also. We had great geographers in the entire time period, starting from ancient times to medieval times to modern times. But most of our discussion will be associated with modern times alone. Mostly modern because we are right now, and how exactly geography should be studied and pursued. Is it clear? As a geographer, what should I be studying? Okay, should I be studying about human population? Fine. If I'm using human population, how exactly to study? What am I to study? Am I to study about their physical features? Am I to study about different types of interactions? Am I to study about different types of social group? Getting the idea? So that philosophy is what you call as perspective. Logic makes sense. Fine. Now let's come to a very simple word which is not as complicated as philosophy. What is that? Economics. Now please define economics for me. This is unbearable. I'm just asking you basic definitions. It's right there on the board. What is economics? Production and consumption. Okay, fine. Production and consumption of goods and services. Fine. So yeah, that's fairly acceptable. Production and consumption of goods and services. Students online, it is in this part of geography that actually whatever you studied in physical gets expanded. Okay, let's see how wide it is. You can broadly divide this into 3 parts. Okay, under economic geography. The first part of discussion is technically about growth and development. Now, this might seem to be a concept which is directly linked to General Studies Paper 3 Economics. But of course, from geography perspective, we have to go for spatial understanding. Like where exactly are the countries with larger sense of economic growth? Let's take a country like United Arab Emirates. Fine. If it has tremendous amount of economic growth, why exactly is the reason? They have oil. Fine. If they have large amount of economic growth, is this translating into development? Is it translating into development? Accepted. Is it translating into human development? Is it translating into human development? Yes. What about? That's also one important part of argument. Speak about women's rights, speak about rights of LGBT, then automatically development gets a different picture. Fine. Development is not only about economics, it is about social, it is about environmental. So that's one part of very simple starting for economic geography. Then we have a larger dimension, everything related to agriculture. That is, with reference to agriculture, we have basics on what are the parameters or factors which affect agriculture. Now, immediately when you see these factors, you can make the connection with physical geography. You would have studied about rainfall, you would have studied about soil. Now, based on rainfall, temperature, soil, what types of crops can be grown? So if you take the world, which countries produce wheat, which countries produce rice, which countries are leading producers of tea and coffee? That is important. And remember, it doesn't end here. Our factors only about rainfall, temperature, and soil is not true. You need human factors, irrigation. You need human factors. For example, fertilizers. Doesn't end here. Okay, you need to have policies. Policies as in, is the government of India ready to provide support for the production of certain crops, which is called as minimum support price? Is the government ready to support farmers for a particular disaster? For example, providing crop insurance. Getting it? So what you see as agriculture, one part is directly derived from physical geography. At the same time, one part is implemented through human. For example, can I cultivate rice in Russia? Uttamar, what's your opinion? Can I cultivate rice in Russia? Or is rice largely cultivated in Russia? No. Why? So when you say climate is not suitable, which part of climate?
Not much rain.
Rainfall is there in Russia. What is not there? Temperature. Rice is a tropical crop. Okay, for the grains to really grow well and then shimmer, you need high amount of temperature, which is actually not present. So beyond physical factors, there are other factors also. For example, Israel is a desert. Okay, Israel is in perfect desert climate. It's part of Middle Eastern region. In spite of that, Israel produces enough food for its own people because Israel has the most advanced irrigation systems in the world. So when we look at agriculture, you take both physical and human factors and see where food is getting produced. Getting it? At the same time, food has to be exported outside. So how do food move between different parts of the world? Then comes this segment. We're talking about food many times. So with the food related to agriculture is food security. So what is food security in general? We are not just talking about availability of food. We have to make sure that that availability of food is present to all social groups. When I say all social groups, is food available for rich people and poor people? Is food available for man and women? Is food available for all different types of caste? Is food available for people of different religion? Is food available everywhere in the world? Is food security available for all parts of the world? No. For example, take a place like Afghanistan. Okay, Afghanistan is not a country where there is large-scale domestic production. At the same time, they have an excellent government. Okay, government who's against everything. For example, government who's against photograph. I've not heard of any government in the world which is against photograph. Okay, Taliban government has said no more photographs. Okay, but still they want to promote tourism. I don't understand those people. I'd really like to sit and talk to them. Like, what is your real objective? So point is, when you have such type of government, you cannot assure food security. So remember something, what used to be something associated with rainfall, temperature and soil, due to political factors. Is food security affected? Yes. Let's take Gaza. Is food security affected? Yes. Let's take Ukraine. Is food security affected? Yes. So because of political conflict, food security might get affected. And even if food is available, there is a chance that it might be disrupted by droughts, cyclonic systems. So again, we go back to climate change. So what starts as simple growth and development is slowly expanding into agriculture and food. So agriculture is partly related to physical part, physical geography, but it expands into other parts, parallel parts also. Is it clear? Now, once you have done two parts of geography within economic geography, that is growth and development, then agriculture, then we have minerals and industry. I know that I've done map reading for some batches. Okay. So I'd like to talk to Prasanna. Fine. So Prasanna, where is or Indonesia is known for what? You tell me about Indonesia. What do you remember from class? Rahul, don't help him. Indonesia is a country, you know that, no? Yeah, I'm the one who taught you. Tell me something about Indonesia. Coconut. Coconut is in Kerala. No, give me something. Huh? I'm just messing with him. I know that person for 6 months. Huh? Indonesia. Something. Some mineral there. We're not talking about agriculture. That's palm oil. Coconut illa. Okay. Mineral. Anyone recollects? Nickel. Very good. Is it clear? So now it is important that you understand where nickel is present. Why? Because nickel is very much important for battery manufacture. It goes beyond lithium and cobalt. Okay. Now, where are my minerals present? Like, where is my oil present? Where is my cobalt present? Where is my lithium present? Where is my gold present? Like, where exactly does my coal come from? Where is my iron ore? Getting the idea. So, based on different types of minerals only, it is possible for you to manufacture something. Okay, it is possible for you to process. And after processing all these minerals, you start your industries, textile, automobile, okay, petrochemicals. These are your heavy industries. Getting the idea. But industries are not oriented only towards manufacturing. We have services. Some countries in the world which are very good in software. Okay, India is the seventh largest exporter of software in the world, but United States is the biggest exporter of services in the world. Fine. So what makes USA an excellent country when it comes to services? We need to understand factors of industrial location. Fine. So what makes China an excellent country when it comes to manufacturing industry in the world? Okay, why is it not possible or why is it very difficult for African continent to really capture the world's manufacturing and the world's services industry? Why do they exactly struggle? Getting the idea. So based on all this, you will study finally energy crisis. And when we talk about energy crisis, again, this is a combination of both physical and human. For example, tell me about different sources of energy you know. Thermal energy, then heat. Solar, then hydro, very good, then wind, nuclear, then thermal. Okay, I'll take coal, oil, biogas, biomass, everything I'll take. What else is there? Where is the geothermal is, yeah, geothermal, very good. Then waves are there, tides are there, ocean currents can be used for energy. So now we have to understand, spatially in different parts of the world, which energy is dominant. If you produce energy also, is it possible for you to transport that energy? For example, you know about a country called as Australia. Australia is mostly a desert. And in a desert, there is high availability of solar power. Now, let's say I'm synthesizing solar power. The generation is one part. But remember, when it comes to usage of energy, generation is only one part. That's the problem. Next comes transmission. After transmission comes distribution. So many levels are there. Problem in the world is you find energy in certain parts, high levels of concentration, but is it possible to transmit over long distances? Okay, we can't put a electricity tower, okay, right from Chennai to Australia. Not possible. Simply not possible. Transmission has limitations. Even if you transmit it for long distances, you have to distribute. So when it comes to energy, is energy available to all parts of the world? No. Example, Pakistan. Get the idea. What does Pakistan have? Nothing. Okay, except weapons. Okay, if you put all your money for military infrastructure, people will not have food, water, and electricity. So there are many parts of the world which are in permanent darkness. Getting the idea? So this is your economic geography. So to summarize, there are three subtopics with the last minor topic. So first was growth and development. Second was agriculture and food security. Getting it? Third was minerals and industry. So these are the biggest parts. Biggest parts. So you finish everything. So all these agriculture and industry is related to trade also. when we learn agriculture and industry, we'll see how things are moving from one part of the world to another. And the last minor segment was energy. Got the idea? So what you learn in economics will be different. Everything in economic geography is spatial. How things move, where does things get produced, why is it produced in one place, how does it move from one place to another? Economics, production of goods and services. This part is clear. Shall we go to the next chapter? So I think you saw the heading of next chapter. What was that? Population and settlement geography. This time we are studying about two topics. This is a massive chapter. Massive chapter as in terms of size. Okay, some chapters are very big in size. For example, in section A, what was the first chapter? Something called geomorphology. Geomorphology, a massive chapter in terms of size. Okay, chapter 8 is massive. Massive as in the amount of content will be high. You can see the number of lines they're given. Okay, but weightage is same. 10%. Doesn't matter, words are more, words are less. Doesn't matter at all. Same percentage of questions from here, some percentage of questions from here also. That's the beauty of UPSC. Okay, they maintain equality. Mentioned in Constitution of India. Now listen right now. What exactly is population and settlement about? And from optional perspective, what are the dimensions which you're trying to explore? See, let's take population, this part alone. Population generally has, again, 3 to 4 subtopics. The basic idea is demographic features. So under demography, what are you going to study? You're going to study about the structure of population, that's all. I think all of you know. I think you know this. Democracy means people's rule. Geography means, okay, earth. Graphy means to write, which means study. So, demography, na? Study of population parameters. Understood the meaning? So you're talking about population growth. How does population change over time? Okay, what was the population of Tamil Nadu 50 years back? What is the population of Tamil Nadu 100 years back? What is the expected population of Tamil Nadu 25 years later? Okay, this is at a state level. Fine. At an international level, how does the population of France expected to change? Is Japan experiencing population decline? Many questions are there. Getting the idea? So first idea is demographic attributes. Okay, what is the composition of gender? Getting the idea? What is the percentage of young population? What is the percentage of older population? Those are the basic features, and you get basic questions on that. So if I have too much of population, is it a problem? If I have too lesser population, is it a problem? Yes. For example, take a country like Kazakhstan. Okay, Kazakhstan is a vast country. Okay, it's a steppe climatic condition, average rainfall of 45 to 50 centimeter. It's an excellent place to settle down after retirement. Okay, so after choosing service in future, okay, earn enough money, have your savings, go to Kazakhstan and settle. Because Kazakhstan people are not there. That's the country which suffers from underpopulation, too much of land area, too much of resources, but not enough population to actually make use of it. Fine. So that is your demographic attributes. Logic makes sense. Fine. So now we have, of course, population theories. Because for general studies, this is actually not needed. General studies, it's only basic demographic features you'll work on. Okay, how does population change? But this time, there are different geographers who are given theories. These are the reasons why population change. Heard of Karl Marx? Yes. Who's Karl Marx? Don't say Marxist. Okay, that's the thing I told you. Don't say Marxist. Okay, Karl Marx wrote about Marxism. So who is he? He's a German economist. Okay, then see, you're ready to use the word philosopher. But I ask you the definition of philosophy, you're not saying what philosophy is. Huh? Fine, he's a German philosopher, right? So Marx, you know it might be an economist. But from his economic theory, we have a Marxian theory of population. We have a Marxian philosophy of geography. Slight bit, little bits, getting the idea. And then, going back to theories again, apart from Marx, I use the word Marx because I wanted you to be familiar. Okay, there are other geographers who have technically even different theories on how population changes. Logic makes sense. Fine. And lastly, population problems and measures. Now comes a special topic here, because this is straightforward linked to demography. The special topic is migration. Hmm? Why do people move? How do people move? Why do people go to a place for 10 years and then come back after 10 years? Why do people say, I'm going to do a degree in US and then never come back to India ever? There are many important things, you know. So when it comes to migration, there are different parameters, how it affects. Migration in India will not be the same in migration Brazil. Okay, Brazil's migration will be very different. Okay, many might be trying to go to United States, but the channels, pathways, reasons, everything will be different. Okay, from India, it will be very different. Getting the idea, India is a very important source of migration for the entire world. Migration in Philippines will be different. So we are going to look at simple causes and consequences of migration, but at the global level. How does developed countries work? Developing countries work. How does an urbanized country work? How does a rural country work? Migration is not the same everywhere. Get the idea? For example, in India, there is a specific type of migration called rural to rural migration. And rural to rural migration in India, moving from village to village. Why will people move from village to village, Kabila? Marriage. That's the most important reason, which is gender oriented. So we understand about migration also. So you think about it, all these are in-depth population parameters. Fine. This is one part of chapter 8. Fine. Coming to chapter, second part of chapter 8 is what we call as settlement. Settlement is now people are there, right? We have so much of population growth, distribution and all that. But how do people organize themselves? Do they organize themselves in small villages or into slightly bigger towns or into large metropolitan cities? That is your settlement geography. How does population organize itself? Not the idea. And just like we had population theories, we always have settlement theories. That's all. There are certain theories of settlement. Okay, it tries to explain why certain cities grow, continue to grow, why certain cities don't grow after a point of time. Getting the idea? So why certain areas become extremely large metropolitan areas, why they continue to face decline too. For example, take Kolkata. Has anyone traveled to Kolkata? When did you travel to Kolkata? While going to Sikkim, you stay traveling through Kolkata, na? Idil. That's not traveling to Kolkata. Using that definition, I would have gone to more than 200 districts in India. You should stay there for at least for 2 days.
I went around the day.
Fine. You saw Kolkata through your eyes. Okay, Mahesh, I just saw your answer. Thank you. Huh? Okay, fine. What was your experience of the place? You didn't like it. That's a very bad thing to say. Oh, hopefully, no Bengalis are there. Fine. I'll just say you went to Kolkata. When? Don't say school trip. Huh? Oh my God, that's the last thing I wanted today. To know that a person has gone to Kolkata in when you were 12, I think, 11, 12, 6 standard. I went much later, 3 years back. Now, if you take Kolkata, is Kolkata a city with massive growth, so much of happiness? No, Kolkata is actually a city in decline. Why exactly does cities decline? Why exactly do cities grow? For example, Bengaluru. You go to Bangalore, you get that young vibe. Huh? People are very young there. The reason is that's the exploding city in India where people come to Bengaluru for many reasons, especially associated with your software sector. But there are so many sectors around software. Fine, you go there, you know the demography is very young. Okay, and that is where there is large amount of money coming in. Fine. So we have different theories to explain why in certain areas some cities grow really well and some cities grew at one point of time and now they are in decline. Getting the idea? And now let's say a city is created. City will naturally have problems. Getting the idea? So this is your urban problems of urbanization, which is directly related to your gender studies actually. So if problems are there, what do? Measures. Now look at the previous semicircle I've drawn. 1 second. You see they're similar? Just like population theories, you have settlement theories. Just like population problems and measures, you have settlement theories and problems. Logic makes sense. Fine. So which means similar to this, there should be one specific part of settlement, right? So that is concepts related to city. Okay, I'll just give a simple idea. Okay, which we call as urban morphology. Fine. Please answer this. Uttamil will answer. Because I think I've taught him Uttamil. Morphology means? C for plastic explosive, you know. Chairla type panni adila vechu vedikki vechiruve. Get the idea? Fine, Prem, tell me the answer. Your name is Niveda, is it? Niveda, tell me, you're also from B1, B2. What is Pistina? Morphology. Appa, what structure? Very good. Thank you, superb. External structure. I can't Google how to make plastic explosive with Tamil. Police will arrest me. Okay, that is the reason you escaped. Okay, if I go to dark web one day and learn, I'll definitely tie you up and make a blast right there. See, listen right now. Morphology simply means physical structure. So when I add the word geomorphology, it becomes Earth's physical structure. If instead of the word geo, if I add the word urban, it will become physical structure of what? City, that's all. Urban morphology. In a city, where exactly people have high density? Where exactly do we have squatter settlements, which has greater chances might become slums also? Why in certain parts of the city there is less population? Okay, you go to a city, is it possible that you'll find an area where people who speak only a specific language are there? For example, if I travel to Mumbai, is it possible to find an area where there is high concentration of Tamil population? Why? Government of India told, oh, okay, fine, you're Tamil, you settle there. Oh, you're from Karnataka, Karnataka people go there. You're Malayali, Malayali settle here. We are from Delhi, Delhi go there. No, government didn't tell anyone that you have to go to these places. But usually when a city develops, automatically there are certain parts which is dominated by one particular community based on language, based on religion, based on caste also. Okay, no one governs or no one tells people, but it happens. So this is one type of structure. How a city organizes itself. Get the idea? Now let's take Chennai. Chennai for purchasing textiles. If anyone asks you, where will you suggest? T Nagar. If someone comes and asks you for help, okay, help is tell me where I should start my software industry. Which place will you suggest in Chennai? Or a software company na start pannu. Sholinganallur apro. OMR. So you understand that no person will say, okay, Tunikada Armikan, I want to start a textile shop. Sir, OMR, very good opportunities are there. So what you do is you go to OMR and start. Life will be very good. No. Or someone wants to start a software industry, no one is going to say, sir, T Nagar, sir, best for software. Excellent young, bright minds in Tamil Nadu are roaming around in T Nagar. You catch them and put it into your office, software exports will export. No one will say. You had a common sense to say, T Nagar is for textiles, Sholinganallur is for software. That is what we study. Why? Why certain parts are concentrated here within the city, which is called as agglomeration. Getting it? That is part of urban morphology. You get the idea? Look at the word again. External structure of a city. How does a city look like? Fine. Let me ask you this. I'll write some cities. Tell me what is their commonality. Okay, known for tourism, accepted then. Very good. So you take all of them, they'll have a specific structure. Okay. These were built by whom? Delhi and Agra? Mughals. Hyderabad was built by Nizam. So automatically city gets a structure. You're getting the idea? Where we have ancient cities in India, medieval cities in India, and modern cities in India.
No, bro.
Brother, எனக்கு கேக்குது. Yeah, I understood. I do not know who it was. See, the reason we have the online portal is for you to interact with faculty, not to interact among yourself. So for that, you can share your Telegram ID and number. Is it clear? So I think I can continue with your permission, of course. Fine. So if you take cities in India, it can be classified based on time also. Okay, so these were medieval cities. So medieval cities have a technical style to them. Okay, and blend of Indo-Islamic architecture. Clear? Now let's come to these cities. Tell me what is common among all of them. Actually, I should not be using this word. I'll use a different word. It's easy to identify. Tell me what is common to all of them. This was developed by British. So you go to the city, you can clearly find certain features of British power. For example, Anna University, College of Engineering, India, Chennai Central, look at the tower structure. Fine. So certain parts which are developed by them continue to be important till today, yes or no? So based on, because these are modern, very recent cities. So this is also part of your urban morphology discussion. Got an idea of what we study in optional? Clear? That is your chapter number 8. Okay, so we have come to the last chapter. Now you might be wondering, no, we have a chapter 10. I'll tell you why we don't have chapter 10. Did Arun sir speak about this? Chapter 10. No, I'll tell you why it is not there. Chapter 9 is there. And what is chapter 9 heading? Yeah, very good. Regional planning. And every single demo, you always have a game. Okay, so I pick a volunteer and I play the same game, but one way or the other, the content is conveyed. So I need a volunteer. You're the volunteer. Because if you answered properly what Indonesia was known for, I would have left you. You didn't revise your class notes. Fine, Prasanna. No, sit to me, volunteer. Okay, no. See, this is a academic class. Okay, it's not kickboxing for demonstration. Not the idea. Fine, Prasanna. Simple question. Where do you come from? Salem. Okay. See, assume that I'm some person who's not from India. I'm telling you, I do not know Salem. So you have to explain to me where is Salem. It's a district in Tamil Nadu. I do not know Tamil Nadu.
Tamil Nadu is a state in UP.
State in India, okay. I don't know. India, I don't know. My world geography knowledge is very poor. So where is Salem? Where do you come from? South Asia, okay. Where is Asia first? I don't know. What is Asia? I don't know. Where is Asia? I really don't know where is Asia. I'm from Greenland. I only know Greenland. I'm from Greenland. I don't know Asia. I don't know.
How Greenland is.
No, you explain to me. Yeah. I want to know where exactly. I want to come. That is why I'm asking. I want to come to Salem. Greenlanders first visit to Salem. I want to do vlog. Explain. Try, relax or try. I have to explain to a Greenlander who doesn't know where is Asia. Try. Try something. Come on. Ah. From Greenland? Try. See, if I'm from Greenland, think what I will know. From there, you try to trace something. Ask me questions, I'll answer. I'm from Greenland. Ah. Ask me questions.
Here to Greenland, like what are the.
I know Denmark. That's all.
You can tell like how Denmark.
Okay, fine. You will say where Denmark is. Okay, from Denmark, how will you connect to Asia, Rahul?
So first you ask him like where he'll tell Greenland.
Okay, I said Greenland and I know Denmark. That's all.
How Denmark went to Greenland.
Okay, how Denmark, and then from Denmark you say where is Europe, and from Europe you say this is Asia, you say Asia, India. And then. Now I'll ask a difference. For example, I am from Salem. I am not from Greenland. I am from Salem. Okay. Salem le inge. I am asking you, where in Salem? What area? Spelling it. Correcta? A-N-N-A. Okay. Anna? Annadanapatti. Okay, fine. Where is Annadanapatti? Okay, Annadanapatti lenge. Give me landmark. Okay, near a school. Fine. Thank you. See, understand something. We did this to understand the concept of a region. The word region is highly variable. It might seem very simple, but it is difficult to explain to a person who's not from the place. Getting it? So depending on what my knowledge is, it's all about personal knowledge. Only based on that you can explain what exactly is a region to me. If I say I do not even know where Asia is, it's not possible for you to define it. So first of all, defining a region is important. That's what we learn first. Understood the meaning? Get the idea. So what exactly is a region? What are the attributes of a region? Based on what character I classify a region? For example, you agree that India is a region, no? India is classified based on what parameter? You call this as India? Country based on what? Political unit. It has a constitution, it has a flag, it has a particular system of governance. Now, if I ask for the state of Tamil Nadu, again, say Indian constitution, limits are there, state is there, and so and so. For example, there is a region called Western India. Fine. Now, tell me which places are there in Western India? Gujarat, Rajasthan, okay. Maharashtra, apro. Goa, Western India or Southern India? See, when I asked you, you said Rajasthan, you said Gujarat, you said Maharashtra. You started getting confused in Goa. Getting it? Perception. How do people perceive a region? How do you see a region? These are the basics of regional planning. It's again and again about what exactly is a region. Understood the meaning? Region can be small, region can be very large. At the same time, region can change based on a person's own knowledge. Region can change based on how a person thinks about a region. Okay, so based on that, a person can include or exclude. I asked a very simple question. Instead of Western India, if we had asked you a question, Central India, there'd be a lot of ruckus in class because we wouldn't know which state to add actually. You're getting the idea. So that's part one. Part one will be what exactly is a region and how to decide what is a region. Clear? So this is the basic part. What is this? Okay, how exactly to delimit or how exactly to classify a region? Can I classify based on rainfall alone? For example, areas more than 100 centimeters rainfall in India. Clear? Can I classify a map like that? Areas with have black soil in India. Can I classify a region based on that? Yes. Now, why should I do this? Because if I classify based on climate, classify based on agriculture, classify based on soil, I can start planning for the region. Got the idea? So once you know what is a region, then you can start planning for the region. So what am I trying to develop? So if I'm trying to develop oil, what plan should we have? You're trying to exploit minerals. If I'm trying to develop tourism, what type of plan you should be having? So what are the principles behind regional planning? Got the idea? Then finally, same standard approach, which we had for population geography, settlement geography. There are geographers who are given theories on how exactly you should develop your region. So three-part set is clear. Fine. And finally, of course, every single time there will be problems and then finally how to overcome the problems. What are the problems with planning? Okay, at times simply data collection will be a problem. For example, census exercise. If there is any mistake in collecting data for census, resource allocation, how much funding goes for the district, how much funding goes for a state itself will become a serious issue. So this is what you study under regional planning. So we take both physical parameters, climate-based region, forest-based region, at the same time human parameters. Areas with high young population will need different type of plan. Some states will have old population that will have different type of plan. Got the idea? So that is your part paper 1. And let me tell you, students online, there is no chapter 10. There is no chapter 10 because chapter 10 is internally divided. For example, system analysis in human geography is chapter 6. Malthusian, Marxian demographic transition is chapter 8. Central place theory crystallography is chapter 8. Perron Bodol is chapter 9. It will keep going. Every part which you study as models in geography, will be dealt either in 6, 7, 8 or 9. Logic makes sense. The only odd one out is here. This person alone is slightly different. This is the only odd one out. This is geopolitics. How does geographical features affect the decision taken by empires and superpowers? It's a very small slice of the entire set you learned. This is the last part actually. Alright. So before I go to the summary of paper 2, let me just tell you something. If you take the entire portion of Indian geography, I think sir would have told you about 2 chapters or 1 chapter. Sir spoke about physical setting and contemporary issues. Okay, fine. Physical setting, sir would have spoken. Let me just tell you, what you study in economic geography is connected so much to Indian geography, and this is what I'll be handling. Okay, because economic geography is there in India's resources. This is chapter 2. World level, I'm going to tell you where minerals are. India level, where minerals are. Simple. So this is required for agriculture. Chapter 3. World agriculture, Indian agriculture. Chapter 4. World's industry, India's industry. Textile, textile. Automobile, automobile. Same thing. Chapter 5. Trade, transport, communication. So globally, how does trade happen? How does trade happen in India? Globally, how are transport networks present? Roadways, railways, airways. How is roadways, railways, airways in India? So please remember, chapter 7 is the biggest chunk if you connect with Indian geography and learn. You know, it might be one single chapter, chapter 7. But chapter 7 has 4 branches into Indian geography. You just apply it over India. That's all. Logic makes sense here. Fine. So now comes chapter 8. What was chapter 8 we saw? Population. So population and settlement geography. So I think you'd have guessed it already. If world population, demography, problems, measures are there, next chapter will be India population. So there is a chapter specifically for cultural setting, India's culture and population. So this is chapter number 6. And there is a separate chapter, India settlements. That is chapter number 7. Fine. And chapter 9 was regional planning in paper 1. So automatically there is a chapter for regional planning for India also. So chapter 8 is over. So whenever I deal with human geography, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 chapters in Indian geography will be covered. That's the way it works. Clear? Because the largest chunk of Indian geography is covered with human geography actually. Physical setting is only one part. And lastly, I'll just show you the syllabus itself. Physical setting, resources, agriculture, industry, transport, communication, trade, culture, population. See, same thing will be there. Demographic attributes, sex ratio, age structure, literacy rate, same thing which we saw. Morphology of Indian cities this time, not morphology of global cities. Regional development and planning. There it was regional planning, application to India. I told you, there is something called geopolitics. So what you learned as geopolitics, in that last 10th chapter, you have to apply it to India also. And just tell me whether you have any relevance to GS paper 2. Not the idea. So this part is lastly linked with your 10th chapter. So Indian geography is simply application of whatever theory you've studied. It's not very special. Apart from the fact, it is more specialized to India. Not the idea. So that's the explanation of the syllabus. Contemporary aspects, again, in my opinion, okay, Arun sir will be handling this last chapter. This is again a combination of everything. Whatever you have studied in all the 19 chapters, you'll find words of syllabus: pollution, changing pattern of land use, environmental degradation, problems of agrarian and industrial unrest. When you study agriculture itself, you'll be studying about agrarian problems. So all that is combined as chapter number 20. Okay, that's the explanation of geography syllabus. As I told you, I'll close before I open the floor for doubts. There are 2 faces. Okay, 2 sides of the moon. And what I tried to explain, hope you understood, was the human part of geography optional. Clear? Because many people are familiar with this one. People know this automatically. But this also requires explanation. Fine. I just call sir. Okay, just 2 minutes, he'll be there. And then if any queries are there, you get it clarified now itself. Okay. Arvind. Sir, number irukka? கூப்பிடுறீங்களா? சரி. Just 2 minutes, he'll be there. Students online. We'll take doubts now. Okay. And just hold on for 2 minutes, because if you start typing, then naturally chat box goes up. And please don't hesitate, because if you ask a doubt, it will be helpful for others also. That is why. That's the only reason. So Vecpex uses classroom mic volume. You cannot make adjustments in your device locally. Pranav Sailesh. I do not know what to say. To some -gmail.com or at gmail.com. I don't know. At gmail.com. Sir. So now you can ask doubts. Both are here. See, again, I'll tell you, if you ask, it will be helpful for everyone. That is why. So please. See, 100% sure that you came here today because there were many doubts in your mind, else you wouldn't come to a demo. You'd have already decided this is my optional, you'd have registered already. If you come to the demo, there should have been questions. When we presented, it is one way. We just know, okay, this is what is expected from students, and we explain the syllabus. And from that side, we have done. But there will be questions from your side also. No? Students online, you can ask now. Please type in your messages. That is why I'm asking. There will be genuinely few questions at least. Because you've faced it every demo. That is why. When you say map, you're talking about total number of questions and how exactly it works. So you want to take this or shall I? See, map is part of class, okay? Indian geography itself. Like since most of Indian geography comes in human, I'll be the one who's handling. If you look at mark distribution in paper 2, out of 250 marks, as part of your compulsory question, there is 20 marks for map. You will be given an outline map of India, and the places will only be Indian geography places. So that is taught as part of class. It's part of class itself. What places are most commonly asked in your mains examination and how exactly to go for basic marking. So it's part of it. You're talking about the question, right? You're not talking about drawing, is it? Is it difficult to? Depends as in, if you take the question which comes in UPSC, you can prepare for basic and conventional areas. Logic makes sense. There are some years in which questions are difficult for all the aspirants. Okay, there is nothing like if you know a place, most likely every aspirant will know the place. That's the way it works. Okay, it's more about individual effort into current affairs. Current affairs, let's say you've possibly reading newspapers, and every single day, at least 5-10 minutes, you're working on marking. It becomes your natural process. Okay. From our class perspective, the basic and conventional areas we can cover. That I can assure you. I think now it is answered. It's not about drawing. Right. Fine. Then. For geography optional. See, the book list we'll discuss later. See, that you worry about if you're choosing this optional. See, I have only one thing. Book list, how to cover the syllabus. Okay. And what parts to study in the book. Those things come once you've chosen the optional. Okay, you're worried about what? Too many books you're worried. Resources, I can list the material, but I do not know whether it will be helpful, that's all. You want chapter-wise books? I can give you. That will be done in the first class of geography optional. Now we need not need to worry. Okay, I want to address questions in which people are still having confusion on what exactly is the subject. So you want to answer this?
Yes, it's regarding the weekend sessions. As I mentioned, the syllabus is vast, but along with that, I have mentioned one more thing. Syllabus is inclusive, and that inclusivity makes it vast. Fine. So regarding the sessions, we have Saturday, Sunday sessions from 9 to 1 o'clock is the time. So within a week, we'll get 8 hours. So that's how we manage the sessions here. 6 months of time, and your sessions will be over by December or Jan. That's the plan. So every batch, this is how it goes. And we used to cover the entire syllabus and provides notes for that particular areas that we discuss. And the syllabus will be completed within that time frame. And there is no worry regarding the syllabus completion or the vastness of the syllabus. That we'll handle. Yes.
The question that filters and which were not in the books which we conventionally.
Yes. Fjord was a question regarding the fjord. That was a rare and rarest question asked.
For example, the options they ask a question. I'll miss out on this particular one.
And there is no worry regarding that. That fjord question was asked in GS paper 1 in 2023, GS paper 1. And in optional, we'll be covering all the landforms. Fjord is associated with the glacial landforms. That all those landforms we'll be covering. So that's why I said you'll be having an edge over the other aspirants. Any other doubts? Any other clarifications? No doubts? You please? No. Yeah.
Sir, I'm a theory oriented person, sir. I'm good with theories.
Oh, fine.
Is it like on the subject then I marks kind of scope
If you have an edge,
Scoring, sir.
if you have an edge over the theories, will you be able to score good mark in geography, right? So we have your background. May I know your background? Commerce. Fine. If you're good in writing, theories, there are a lot of theories in physical geography, human geography theories are there. So if you're good in that, yeah, there is an edge over that, other aspirants. Yeah, please.
Say there are theories of geography.
I was explaining in perspective, sir. Tell me, man.
We have exam on the UPSC given on main discussion.
See, நான் டைரக்டா சொல்றேன் இது ஜியோகிராஃபி ஆப்ஷனல் மட்டும் கிடையாது எனி டாபிக் both general studies I'm talking about all 4 papers. Any topic you study, there are only 3 forms in which you have to make notes. First type of form is direct explanation of features, where they'll ask you explain the features of the theory. That's it. Fine. Second part is what are the areas in which theory is working. For example, if you take many models, okay, some theories will work, some theories it is applicable, some areas it is not applicable. So when you prepare your notes in class itself, we'll be teaching what are the features of the theory. This is one type of question. See, optional vitringa. For example, let's take basic up on, let's take federalism. Not even talking about optional. Federalism simply means center-state and interstate relations. So what are the features of Indian federalism? 10-mark question, general studies paper 2, they can ask you. Is federalism in India properly working? Analyze. That's a possible question. So when you prepare your class notes in class, you'll be taught, yes, these are the areas where federalism is working. These are the areas we won't write federalism is not working. We'll write these are areas federalism needs to be improved. Getting the idea. And then what are the current issues in Indian federalism? That can be question number 3. So if you take geography optional theory, features of the theory, where the theory is working, in the current world, how far it is applicable. I can replace the word federalism as a GS2 topic. Instead of GS2, I can take a topic from GS1. Take caste. What are the features of caste system? Is caste system still prevalent in India, not prevalent in India? How is caste system creating many issues in India? So any GS, because I wanted to particularly address this, in a theories is not something new. That is the point I want to properly ensure. Theories, you don't need to create anything. Any topic, general studies or optional, this is a format of preparation. So theories will take the same format. I think now it is clear. Fine. Sir.
Yes, geography needed to be updated consistently with the current affairs. See, our syllabus is, there is a static and dynamic part as well. Especially when you take the contemporary issues and the application of climate, applied climatology, applied geomorphology, application of certain theories in certain context, all these are related with the current affairs things. So while taking the classes or handling the sessions, we'll be updating you with the relevant current affairs things. There is no worry regarding that.
How will we proceed? How will we have a test or how will it not?
I'll explain this. That's me one time later. No, sir. Meera, 1 second. I'll just take this. Last year, Rahul, plan is 10 tests. That's what we had. But we were able to schedule 6. Okay, and later, after because course gets over by December last week or Jan first week. So after the course is over also, tests will be conducted. Okay, so last year we had a plan of 10 and then students felt no, sir, like they felt it was satisfied and then we stopped at test number 6 actually. Okay, even this year, the initial plan is 10 tests and 10 chapters. That's the idea. So you finish a chunk or you finish one major chapter, then you have the test. That's the work. Learning of concepts and analyzing it Can sufficient for frame or understanding? Will can
By sitting in the class and learning the concept, can they appear the exam effectively? That's
I don't understand. Learning of concepts and placing it can.
So what I understood from the question is, by sitting in the class, we'll be teaching you different concepts and different lessons will be taught, and you'll be taking the lecture notes. We'll be suggesting you some standard books to refer further, and some current affairs will be given in addition with that class discussion, static discussion. And with this, you will be filled with a lot of information, a lot of data, and analysis will be there in your mind. And when it comes to the exam, you'll be having the module test and you'll be having the test series as we conduct in the next year. So within that, you will get an application level standard while preparing for the test, and you will be writing the answer. And we'll sit and correct every answers, and we'll find out where you're missing. If there is any gap in the concepts, we'll ask you to revise it, and we'll suggest you some books and all. And with that, you can inculcate that nature of filling that answer effectively. Ceramic history background, will you cover basic geographical concepts before advanced? Fine.
Rahul, let me explain this. There is no basic expertise required because we know that people come from different backgrounds, engineering, arts, science, so no issues at all. So right from the start of class, July 12th, in any topic, it's not that geomorphology or climate, no. Any topic, it is assumed that you're starting from zero. So it is not necessary that you're from history background or this background. Any background, idea is it will start from basic because naturally students participate from every other subjects here and streams.
There's no geography of background. See, Rahul, in addition to that, there is no geography graduates or geography postgraduates sitting in front of us. So don't worry regarding your background. We'll be starting from the scratches. Any other doubts?
The first few will be from
Section A. No, Section A, Section B. Same thing. Section A was physical, right? So physical, first question is compulsory, second question, third question, fourth question, and then human. Fifth question is compulsory, sixth question, seventh question, eighth question. Standard format, each question carries 50 marks each. And the exam is for 250 marks. So you're supposed to choose 5 out of 8. Beyond the compulsory questions, you have 3 out of 8. So in these 3 questions, you have to choose at least one from each section. So you're talking about strategy, is it? Oh yeah, if the split is perfect split. 4 on physical, 4 on human. Same thing for India. India, it will be mixed actually. Because at times what happens is, let's say there is a question on problems of Indian agriculture or problems of industrial unrest. So that question can be classified as an industry question, agriculture question, or it can be a contemporary issue topic in chapter 10. That is why I gave, it is kind of mixed. Got the idea? So it's 4 plus 4. Right? Anything else? This is true for all options. Section A, Section B. See, it depends, for example, let's say you're explaining cyclone formation. Cyclone formation is cause-effect science-based question. Here, no one is going to bother you with cyclone came with 147 kilometers per hour speed. You're not going to write. But now you're talking about a question on old age population. Before starting to write, you have to know in India which states have a greater percentage of old age population. So data automatically comes into picture. Fine. So same cyclone question, let's say climate change. So to understand climate change, you have to know how many degrees Celsius is considered as climate change, or long-term period, 30 years is considered a climate change. So depending on what topic you're dealing with, the amount of data you use will be different. Okay, depends on topic. See, there was one question on theories. Theories, there is no data. Definition, what are the features of the theory? That's all. Okay, if it's a question, which is specific to a parameter. Okay, then naturally you'll have to learn data. It's as simple as that. See, for example, oil and natural gas distribution. You have to know 50% of all the oil reserves is present in Middle Eastern region. Because you're talking about oil distribution, that's it. So it's variable. It's not fixed that every part I have to learn data. Depending on topic, it will change. Clear? Divya Lakshmi, it's on 12th of June. 12th of June. The initial plan was 5th of, sorry, I'm saying June again. Initial plan was 5th of July. Okay, but we have decided to start it from 12th of July. Okay.
So much of
See again.
Yeah, please.
No. See, all these things you're talking, terms. Same for GS. It's not something new. For example, if you're, how do I say, sustainable development, that's a term. Net zero emissions, that's a term. So similar to how you have so many lists for ethics has started. Okay, so depending on, for example, let's take the definition of caste itself. Okay, within caste, there'll be a term called endogamous group for marriage. Okay, there is restrictions on occupational structure. All these are keywords. All these are technical terms. It is whatever is applicable to GS, same is applicable for this optional also. That's all. See, it's normal. It is not extra. That's what I'm trying to say. Any topic you prepare, keywords is something normal. Fine. I think the doubt was clear. What you meant by keywords is common for every chapter. If you're learning ethics, ethics will have a list of keywords. I think that's it. Then we'll close the session. Okay. Hopefully we clarified every doubt. We get everyone's. No doubts on this side. That is why. At least here there were questions raised. Fine. Okay. Thanks for coming, actually.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for coming. Yeah, hope to see you all in the next session. Thank you.